Hey guys, I hope the wind noise isn't too much, but I'm at our beach house. I'm at our beach house for a week to do some fall maintenance before we have long-term renters. You may recognize that for the few of you that watch my roof gone bad video. Looks like it's holding up really well, not leaking. Normally I come here and do vegetation control this time of year, and I'll show you some of that. But next to the house is a garage. We call it the boat garage because when we looked at the house, there was a boat in it. And also above the door, it says Jerry's Boathouse. May he rest in peace. Anyway, so there's a couple windows in here, and around the trim there was some rotted wood, and it was pretty dark. And there's also 70s kind of paneling in here, even though this building's only like 20 years old. This kind of paneling. So it turns out the problem was a lot worse than I had thought it was going to be. Studs rotted, you name it. So I ended up thinking I would just redo around the windows, and finally decided that based on the time I had here, this is all I was going to get done. One thing led to another, and I decided that I don't have enough time to do all this, so I cut the bottom out so everything can dry. And covered the side in felt and some strips and some nails and some other wood. This part up here isn't too bad, but the further I get back there, the worse it gets. I'm assuming all this happened because they had not installed the gutters correctly. They weren't really under the drip edge. It allowed it to run around that plate they're screwed to now. There was also some railing there originally, which I tore off last spring, which is about to fall off. It was more decorative anyway. It looked like that stuff up there, I think, to try to match the theme. So anyway, I'm hoping this will last the winter and I can try to fix this in the spring. Fast forward about 5 months and I'm finally back. I was going to work on this project some more. Noticed I still had water in here. And the new wood I put up is wet. And it looks as though it's leaking all the way through at that top plate. Great. My West Virginia siding job held up all winter, so I don't think that was the problem. My gutters were not full. They appeared to be draining. But what I did notice, I guess I didn't notice before, is where they sealed the drip edge down with this rolled roofing. First of all, they should have run the asphalt all the way out past the drip edge, but this wasn't sealed all the way. I've already pulled up that much of it, and I'm able to get back in there and peel without ripping the asphalt shingle, whatever you want to call it, torch down stuff. That's not sealed at all, so I'm guessing water was allowed to blow or wick up under, get beyond the drip edge, and I guess it's fiberglass they put between the torch down stuff, which apparently isn't waterproof, and get in behind there and come in through the roof. So I got a new drip edge. I got this out of here. I'm gonna get all this out and then I'll figure out what the next step's gonna be. I've installed all the drip edge. I went with galvanized this time. I don't know if it'll hold up better than the aluminum or not. So that's all nailed down. And I cut back this underlayment, kind of like felt fiberglass stuff, flush with the edge, and nailed the drip edge down to this like rim plate, whatever. So there's a little bit of a gap down here. Thinking that'll help the transition, because if I went back too far, I was afraid it was gonna make a hump and not want to drain, even though it's not really going to want to drain anyway because it's so flat. I got some of this roofing cement, which is filthy nasty. I'm going to apply that under there, and then I've got part of a starter strip roll I'm going to trim down, and we'll stick under there and glue it all down. I had this roll of starter strip left over from my roof gone bad video, which was at this house also, and I'm trimming it down to about that width. That's kind of my template right there. And I'll just cut this right about here. We're back at our beach house. This is a little over a year and a couple weeks after I started this project. So this tar paper and batten strips, I guess you'd call them, been up here a year, and they've done pretty well, other than right here where it's starting to fall apart. It looks as though the repairs I did on the roof have actually stopped the water infiltration. So we'll see what we can get done on this visit. Hold these upper cabinets down. Down below you can see that I don't know how many studs are rotted, but I'm guessing all of them. So on this trip we'll focus on this area right here, see if I can get this down and fixed in the couple days that I have. That probably shouldn't peel off that easy. Okay, so this was some thin OSB that I had just laying around. That's kind of what I temporarily sheathed it with. So, yeah, this all needs to go. So my plan here is, this bottom plate appears to be pressure treated, so it's fine. And the first about 2 feet of plywood is pressure treated, and so it's fine. So I think what I'll do is try to get down a stud or two at a time, and then go back in and replace them and save the outside plywood. And we'll see what the top plate looks like. From what I can see so far, it's probably fine, so I can just cut studs and replace them one at a time, so I don't have to really temporarily support the wall. And this is how bad the plywood was when I found it. So, see, some of it's like paper. So everything I said previously, just ignore that. I ended up ripping all the plywood off the bottom. There were 3 studs in this corner. I ended up ripping that out, and that entire top plate's out because it was just too rotted. I had to unwire that receptacle. Luckily I found the breaker. So for right now, work on probably, so I'm gonna have to go around this corner at some point. Not this trip. I'll take my grinder with a metal cutting disc and cut off all those nails, and then I can get a stud or triple stud in that corner, then get our top plate back in. So I've pretty much had to demo this whole thing. There were 3 2x4s nailed together in this corner. I mean, this back wall's not a whole lot better, but for the sake of this argument, I'm gonna go ahead and get this wall back fixed, or back where it can be together. So there were 3 2x4s nailed together right here to support this corner. I want to go ahead and get those done tonight, so we'll get them nailed together. I've already cut them to length. So I got a little bit ahead of myself. I should really put this top plate in before I put the studs in. So I've cut this to length. Let's see how well my cutting and measuring skills are. I think they're good enough, but I need a hammer. Now I need to cut another one because this is doubled up. Then we can put it together. Last time when I embarked on this project a year ago, I didn't bring the big guns along. Should make this go a lot easier. I marked my 16-inch center right there. I was able to save all the joist hangers, so now I just got to fill up all the nail holes again with joist hanger nails. The way this was constructed, the bottom 2 feet up of the wall was pressure treated plywood, so I went and got $30-some sheet of 1/2-inch pressure treated plywood, and I'll snap a line and rip it down in half. Height right.
Oh, it needs to be above it.
Well, it needs to be kind of right on it. I put in 2x6s, cut and nailed them in as backing to give it something to nail to. That's the way it was constructed before, so I was just going to repeat that. You should be able just to sit it on this lip on the bottom.
Well, I gotta get it around. Yeah, I go like that. Alright, come this way.
All right, it's got to come back to me. Push it. All right, it's good. Shit is so warped. All right. Let me.
Well, yeah, I was about to say you want to get on one side, at least on one side.
We might be able just to push it. Oh shit. I gotta set it down. There's nails up there, you're gonna have to come out. Can you push it down this way?
Yep.
So it's mostly back together. Go ahead and get this receptacle put back in. Take two. So that wire's hot, so I need to hook this back up, but I'm gonna go turn the power off first, and you won't be able to see that because it'll be dark.